I hope everyone is having an amazing day today. Welcome to my channel. Let's talk about it. How did we get here? What do I mean by that is that you have now white sports head coaches coming out and speaking for black people. What I mean by that is head coach Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks did have a press conference last week. Last Saturday, the team, they canceled practice so the team can focus on discussing social justice issues across the country and the players to register the vote, right? So Pete Carroll, he did come in front of the camera to speak to the media, and I saw it, guys, the interview. It was 15 minutes of kind of boo-hoo. Look at black people, they're going through a lot. I feel bad for them, and the whole rigmarole. So I'm gonna give you guys, just who didn't watch his interview, just screaming out, saying black people can't scream anymore. They are hurting and they are coming forward and they're speaking up, right? So my thing is that, Pete Carroll is in his mid 60s. This man has said in the interview he's been coaching since 13 years old, since Pop Warner. So that's over 50 years. So in 50 years, now you're speaking up, right? And I get it. This is a time where everybody's jumping on board, like the Steve Kerrs of the world, Greg Popovich. They are speaking up. But my thing is, where was this 20 years ago, right? So now it's been a lot of genocide towards black people that we're seeing in the news, in the media, them being shot down. So now it's like, hey, white people, he's saying white people, black people can't, scream anymore. They're hurting, and that white people, they do not know enough, right? And I'm just like, what do you mean they don't know enough? Of course, everyone knows enough. If you're an American citizen, you know a lot about the past of our history, American history, where it came to slavery, racism, Jim Crow. So, I think that's a kind of like a slap in white Americans' faces too, to say they don't know enough and they need to be taught up. I was like, taught up? So I just thought that was just a whole big thing. He brought up slavery, that black people know their history, they know slavery, but white people don't. I just thought that was just that was just so incorrect. And just to talk about the NFL a little bit, I've been turned off the last few years by obviously the Colin Kaepernick, him being ousted out the NFL when he took a knee in 2016 against the national anthem and the flag. So there's only 3 black head coaches in the NFL, but however, there's the 70% of the players are black, right? So that just shows you the disparities in the NFL. So what Pete Carroll is saying, just even in his press conference, is saying that the head coaches, they need to get together and they need to to lead the path. They need to take the lead and kind of get things in order and help out black people. That's what he's really trying to say, right? And again, when he's saying that, white people, they don't know enough. They don't know their history. They don't know about slavery. And he brought up as well, too, that he brought up about, again, with the country starting with slavery, white guys being rich. He's saying we're still in that right now. We're still in that slave mentality where black people don't have, white people have, they are rich. And that's what he's saying. And he's just saying that black people want to be treated fairly. They want to be treated like everyone else. And I'm like, well, I think everybody wants to be treated fairly and equally. But the problem is, when you, and I mentioned this before in videos, when you have a country that is multi-diverse and just different cultures, you're gonna have clashes. It's just the way it is, right? But when you go to countries that are predominantly, say, that one ethnic background, you'll have clashes, but the clashes are not about race, right? It's going to be more about you're darker, you're lighter, things like that, or just economical, but in America, you have white, black, Hispanic, Asian, African, Caribbean, European, so forth and so forth. So you have just different races within one country. And just to let you guys know too, we might think we're a very big country, over, was it 330 million people, but you have countries that have more than us, right? Meaning population wise, you have India, 2 billion, or China, a billion, so forth, so forth. But we have the most racism when you think of a nation, but we're one of the smallest nations out there, right? So just watching Pete Carroll, just, I don't know, like boo-hoo, whining and things like that. I didn't really appreciate it too much, because I thought he was pandering a bit. And for you, who are you to speak on black issues and to come out and say what black people are going through? I mean, again, you're in your mid-60s. Why didn't you come out 30 years ago, 20 years ago? Now you're coming out now, when everybody is kind of just fed up with what's going on. So I think I don't know if it's a political play. I don't know what he's getting out of it, but he mentioned as well too that players are coming to him and they're just they're yearning for help. They're looking for a way where things can change and be different, and they're coming to him and the coaching staff and just saying, we want to be treated fairly. We want things to be different. Like, can you help us, master, or something like that? I don't know. It just this rubbed me the wrong way to see him, of all people, to speak on black issues. That's kind of like a black man coming out, a black head coach, saying this is what the white issues are. And I don't know. It's almost like an oxymoron, right? And I want to know what you guys are thinking about Pete Carroll just having that 15-minute drowning out the world with his quote unquote black issues that he's seeing, and just white people don't know enough, and black people just about coming out of taxis and things like that, cab rides. He kind of threw me off a little bit, but he's saying that just they want to be treated fairly. I mean, who didn't know that, right? I think most people with any kind of knowledge of, you can have a GED and even know that black people want to be treated fairly and equally. So, and one last thing I do want to, I kind of want to another thing, and he's challenging white people, Pete Carroll. So, I took a little bit of notes down. He's like, they need to educate themselves on the history of racism in this country and to be accountable in the fight for equality. I was like, wow. He's coming out, and I think he probably practiced this speech, most of the day. So I was like, wow, Pete Carroll, he has some guts. He has some kind of guts to come out here and hey, listen, I give him a little bit of credit just for, I guess, talking to his counterparts and saying, hey, black people are struggling. They are facing, just the violence against them, and they're being killed off, and the equality is not the fair and quote unquote equal to them. So I do give him some type of credit for that, but I just don't think he's the guy to speak on black issues, and I don't think that people are really sold on that 15-minute speech. I think there was a few good parts in it, but overall I don't think he was the guy that should have spoke on it. He spoke on slavery and this and I know he lost me with a lot of that speech. So tell me, guys, what are you thinking in the comment section about Pete Carroll coming out with his 15-minute speech to the media, to the people, because it's all about us, right? He wanted to speak to us, the people, not just the sports world, but to Americans, about black people, the injustice and racism that's on black Americans. So do you think that he should have been the person speaking on it? Any good things you got out of it? Do you think that he shouldn't have? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know what videos you guys want me to talk about next. And like the video, subscribe below, and share the video. And I will talk to you guys soon. I appreciate your support, continued support. Peace and love.